I heard these words once. Empathy is not simply a matter of trying to imagine what others are going through, but having the will to muster enough courage to do something about it. And these words have inspired me ever since. They are the words of a brilliant scholar, a freedom fighter, a truth teller, everybody in the movement's big, big brother, the wonderful, fabulous, I can't even think of all the great words I want to say about this man, Dr. Cornel West.
Oh, what a blessing to be here, University of Massachusetts-Amherst. What an honor, what a privilege. I want to begin by saluting my dear brother Jolly. Where's Dr. Jolly? Oh, what a visionary leader. Give it up for that brother, 35 years. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere out there. He's somewhere out there. I want to salute my dear brother Omar. That was 2:30 in the morning there in the Middle East. Give it up for brother Omar. He's my dear brother. And Sister Linda, Sister Dima's brother Shaun, brother Tim. We are here to say first and foremost that we will not cave in, we will not sell out, we will not back down. We are fundamentally committed to the well-being of human beings, no matter where they are, be they on the West Bank, be they in Gaza, be they, yes, in Tel Aviv. We're concerned with everybody, but we got a critique of occupation. We got a critique of any form of domination that loses sight of the humanity of others. Is that right? Is that right? And I simply come by here to say that I'm just one small voice of a great tradition of a grand people who've been terrorized for 400 years and taught the world so much about freedom. Frederick Douglass is no joke, and Harriet Tubman is no joke either. Their voices matter even here in 2019. We're here to keep their legacy alive. That's what solidarity is all about. That's what raising our voices is all about. I come from a people who have been hated for 400 years and taught the world so much about love. And I'm here because I want to stay on a love train. I can play a little John Coltrane, Love Supreme for you and back up. A little Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, or some Witness from Martin Luther King Jr., or some novels called Beloved by Toni Morrison, or the love-soaked essays of a genius from Harlem who taught at this grand institution, James Baldwin, the son of Harlem. It goes on and on and on and on. And I simply want to say, I've got four fundamental questions raised by the greatest public intellectual in the history of the American empire. His name is W.B. Du Bois. His papers deposited right here by my dear brother Herbert Abdeker. And Du Bois had four questions for any generation concerned about the quest for truth, the quest for goodness, the quest for beauty, and the struggle for freedom. How shall integrity face oppression? How do we talk about integrity in such a way that we're honest and we are willing to be self-critical? The Socratic legacy of Athens, the prophetic legacy of Jerusalem, that noble discontent, that critical discontent that sits at the very center of any conception of education. And by education, I mean what the Greeks call paideia, P-A-I-D-E-I-A. That's different than cheap schooling. That's my message to you, Chancellor, today. That any chancellor ought to be committed to Socratic energy. Any chancellor ought to be committed to robust and uninhibited conversation. Any chancellor ought to recognize that the quest for truth, capital T, is one in which none of us possess that full truth, capital T. But I come from a people whose anthem is what? Lift every voice. Lift every voice. It doesn't say lift every echo. And we don't want echo chambers. Yes, we've got disagreements. Yes, we've got a whole host of contestations and conflicts. Our dear brother Bernie, who I love very much, strongest position when it comes to the humanity of Palestinians and the humanity of Jews. He and I disagree on PDS. I think he's wrong. I think He thinks I'm wrong. I still love the brother. We still work together. But I'm in solidarity with the Palestinians to the degree to which when I hear their voices say, Brother West, this is our last nonviolent chance. This is our last nonviolent strategy and tactic, given the misery that we're living in, given the unbelievable oppression we're coming to terms with. Please don't allow our humanity to be rendered invisible. And I can hear Socrates saying the unexamined life is not worth living, and Malcolm X saying the examined life is painful. I can hear Amos saying, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I can hear Esther saying, here I stand. I can hear Jesus and Muhammad saying together, keep track of the least of these. I don't care if they're Palestinians. I don't care if they're in Kashmir. I don't care if they're in Tibet. I don't care if they're in sub-Saharan Africa. I don't care if they're Dalits in India. I don't care if they're white poor in Appalachia. I don't care if they're black folk in Harlem or Chicago. What kind of human beings do you really want to be? That's the question that we're wrestling with right here. What kind of human beings do you really choose to be in the short time in your trek from your mama's womb to tomb? That's the question for the students. Because every generation has to come to terms with the question that Dostoevsky raised, and it was his birthday yesterday, at 198 years old. Dostoevsky said, how you going to come to terms with the massive suffering, the structures of domination, the hatred, the envy, the resentment that characterizes so much of we human primates given our history? And lo and behold, here come the forces of conformity, complacency, cowardliness. Look at line 24a of Plato's Apology, where Socrates says, the cause of my unpopularity was parrhesia, P-A-R-R-H-E-S-I-A, and that means frank speech, fearless speech, unintimidated speech, free speech. Those who raise their voices in fearless speech, unintimidated speech, not in a narcissistic, self-righteous way, but concerned about others. That's why talking about love is not mamby-pamby stuff. Harry Belafonte understands and wrote that wonderful foreword to my sister's book. It's a steadfast commitment to others, especially those who are like orphans, those who are like fatherless, motherless, persecuted, oppressed, hated, and despised. And one of the difficulties of this particular situation is you got our precious Jewish brothers and sisters, hated, despised, devalued, oppressed, attacked for 2,000 years with underdog mentality, and now find themselves in a top dog status and losing sight of their own underdogs, the precious Palestinians who are just as precious as the Jewish brothers and sisters. I'm here to remind us that a Palestinian baby has exactly the same value and significance as a precious Jewish baby. And a Jewish baby has precisely the same significance and value as a Palestinian baby. So when we hear 551 Palestinian babies who have been killed, there ought to have been voices of righteous indignation put forward in every corner of the nation, every nook and cranny of the empire. And if not, that's a sign of just how spiritually empty we are, because it's a sign of our callousness toward the suffering of Palestinians. It's a sign of our indifference toward the suffering of our Palestinians. And my dear brother, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel reminds me, indifference to evil is more insidious than evil itself. And that's part of what we're wrestling with. But the chancellor talked about we don't stay in contact with the humanity of the Israeli side. Have you looked at the history of the voices of the PDS movement? Did you hear our brother talk honestly about there's nothing Jewish about mistreating and dominating and occupying and subjugating Palestinians? That's a human choice of Jewish brothers and sisters of a certain political and ideological orientation. We got Noam Chomsky. We got a whole wave of Jewish brothers and sisters who choose to stay in contact with the humanity of Palestinian brothers and sisters. Don't put that construct up there and somehow talk about Jews as if there's some block, some homogeneous block. No, they're human beings who choose. If you are a Jewish right-wing racist, you choose to be a racist. You choose to lose sight of the humanity of Palestinians, and so it is on the underside. If we got some Palestinian brothers and sisters who are hating Jewish brothers and sisters, we call it into question. They're choosing that, but they're hating the domination. They're hating their occupation. Absolutely, and rightly so. And within the BDS movement, just like a jazz orchestra, this is no military band of unanimity. This is a heterogeneous movement, a variety of different voices. I love my dear brother Omar to death. I don't agree with everything, even though most of it I do. That's not the point. I don't agree with everything with Bernie. I don't agree with everything with my mama. And I love her and take a bullet in the heart. But I'm tilting in a certain direction. And there's no doubt that the various establishment, right-wing, conservative, neoliberal, and too many of our progressive comrades don't want to raise their voices when it comes to Palestinian suffering. Why is that? We are calling you out too. You don't have to be so scared. You don't have to be so intimidated. Straighten your back up and take a stand in the name of integrity, honesty, decency, courage, the 4 questions Du Bois was talking about. So that when they, in fact, come to your funeral and your body's in the coffin, they're not going to talk about your curriculum vitae. They're not going to talk about how much money you made. They're not going to talk about how many trophy spouses you were with. They're not going to talk about the mansions that you inhabited. They're going to talk about what kind of human being were you. Did you exemplify integrity, honesty, decency, and courage? Did you take a stand on behalf of those peoples whose precious babies and men and women are being assaulted, attacked, whose homes are being bulldozed, whose land is being taken? And let us be clear, and I'll sit down. Let us be very clear. If there were a Palestinian occupation of precious Jewish brothers and sisters, there would be a mass movement of PDS, and rightly so. I would be a part of it because I believe in the primacy of the moral and the spiritual. I'm in solidarity with human beings. I don't care what color, religion, sexual orientation, or gender. And given the fact that there is, in fact, such silence given a vicious Israeli occupation of Palestinians, we not only see the double standard, we not only see the moral hypocrisy, but we also see the spiritual emptiness of a late capitalist civilization obsessed with greed and money and status and spectacle and image, making it rather than keeping faith with something bigger than you. That's what we're wrestling with. And that's why we get into creeping fascism, not just in the American empire, but in various parts of the world, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America. That the moral catastrophe, the spiritual catastrophe, the political dysfunctionality, the rule of big military, big money, the scapegoating of the most vulnerable, that is the makings of a fascist globe in various ways, and this is part of the struggle to say no. This is part of the struggle to say we will go down swinging in this context with our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters, but in a variety of other contexts, we're going to hold up a bloodstained banner of integrity, honesty, decency, and courage. And yes, we're going to fight the establishment that will tell the lies about what has been going on since 1948 and what has been going on since 1964. Why are you so afraid of the truth? Why you don't want to come to terms with what it is to be a settler colonial regime? Why is it that you don't want to come to terms with your relation with an empire? We must be concerned about our precious Jewish brothers and sisters who feel as if their backs are against the wall, who jumped out of the burning buildings of Jew-hating Europe and landed on land where somebody else was there alongside other Jews, and they had a choice. They could go with Albert Einstein. They could go with Judah Magnus and say, we will coexist. Or they could go with Jabotinsky and say, we will dominate and we will create any means in which these Palestinians are subordinated and degraded. Right now, the legacy of Jabotinsky reigns in Israel, and we have to be honest and candid about that, and we have to raise our voices. It's a beautiful movement to see so many young Jewish brothers and sisters breaking from their parents and their grandparents and say, you've been lying to me. I'm concerned about the truth. You've been telling me all this talk about the prophetic tradition, and yet when it comes to Palestinians, you want me to remain silent. Lo and behold, I've got a new vision. I've got new energy. I've got a new way of being in the world that leads toward a solidarity with all the human beings who are concerned with those Frantz Fanon called the wretched of the earth. Do we have what it takes? I don't know, but I can tell you I'm going down swinging like Ella Fitzgerald and Muhammad Ali.